Good morning, fam. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's having a great day. I don't know exactly how far we are gonna get on the car today. We have so much to do, but the very first thing we need to do is get the whole subframe assembled and back on the car. All right, so I came out about a half hour ago, got a nice fire going in the shop. I put the subframe and the sway bar on top of the stove, and the reason for it, in my mind, it's gonna kind of bake on the paint, just get it hardened a little bit more. Well, we have a few other little things to do. So let's hope that actually works and we don't burn off the paint. All this stuff is completely dry. If this paint on these guys doesn't hold up, or on those, then I'm definitely gonna just pull them apart, put new bearings and seals in there, and weld it apart. We can powder coat everything. Same thing goes for these. If the paint don't hold up, we're gonna have to bust out the ABS sensor and just buy a new sensor and powder coat it while it's apart. I think we'll be fine though. There's not all that much wear and tear on these things. So before we start assembling, there are a few other little things we need to address. Number one, I don't know what I was thinking last night. Obviously these fit in the oven. I don't know if I was just so tired and out of it to where I couldn't figure out how to get them to hang right. So we are gonna powder coat these, just get them done, bang them out real quick. We have a few other little pieces of hardware. I didn't end up powder coating these last night because they weren't all that crusty, but I figured if all the other hardware is black, I might as well make these black as well. And then at the same time, we have all of this hardware right here to actually mount the subframe to the car. The hardware we did last night, which is all that stuff right there, is for mounting like the control arms onto the subframe, that steering rack back onto the cross member. All this stuff right here is to mount the subframe assembly actually onto the car. We're gonna sandblast and powder coat this hardware, that hardware, powder coat those guys real quick as well. By the time we are finished with that, we should be ready to start assembling the subframe. I hope the trick with having that cross member on the stove is gonna kind of, you know, essentially powder coat on the paint. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm giving it a shot though. All right, we got the oven at 400 degrees. It's been preheating for a while. First thing I'm gonna do is just bang out these guys right here. Everything's gonna be the same exact color as the parts we did last night. Damn, those things turned out good. Holy crap. Looks so good. right, we are finally done with every single part for the subframe project we started yesterday. This took way longer than I expected, but I cannot be happier with how everything came out. It looks so damn good. I cannot wait to get it assembled, get it back on the car. One thing I am noticing is look how much better powder coat looks versus paint. Powder, paint. Like, powder coat literally fills in so much crap. Like all the sandblasting marks and everything. That's a side-by-side comparison. That's why I like powder coat so much. I wish I could have done these and these with powder coat, but like I mentioned before, it wasn't worth buying new ABS sensors over. All right, guys, let's get to assembling some stuff. I kind of forget what goes on first. I'm gonna say the steering rack is gonna go on first. It probably doesn't really matter, honestly. I'll probably start with control arms, hit the steering rack, sway bar, and then all the knuckles and whatnot can go on. A lot of these bolts I am gonna be throwing some grease on, especially stuff like this. This bolt here is for the lower control arm, threads in right here. So I don't want those to ever get seized again in case we ever have to remove them. So I'm gonna be greasing a lot of this stuff and torquing it down to the proper torque spec. Okay, so we have the full front subframe assembled except for the hubs and spindles. The reason I'm gonna leave these off now is these are pretty freaking heavy, and trying to get this whole thing up there without kind of like destroying all the work we just did is gonna be hard as is by myself. So I'm gonna throw that up on the car, get it all bolted down, and then later on we can install these. There's 3 things I wish I would have ordered earlier. If I knew about the problems earlier, I would have ordered them. So this wheel bearing is a little bit loose. I'll swap out that bearing later on. This outer tie rod, the boot is ripped on it, so I picked up a new outer tie rod. Same goes for this lower ball joint as well. The boot is a little bit torn. They actually make just replacement boots for that, so I bought a new boot. As soon as all that stuff comes in, we can get it swapped out, but we can do all that while this is all on the car. So now we got to figure out how to get this whole assembly under the car, bolted up by myself without scratching everything up. I'll probably lay a bunch of towels down, kind of slide it under there on the towels, and then once it's under the car, I could probably just lift one end up, get it on that stud right there, get the nut on, and then move to the other side. All right, guys, we are back in action. I know the rotor's a little bit rusty. That'll all disappear the second we drive the car, and then the coilovers as well are gonna be changed up pretty soon with a new set. But can we appreciate how clean all that is? Jeez. As far as this side goes, we didn't fully assemble it because we gotta swap the wheel bearing, ball joint boot, and the outer tie rod. So as soon as all those parts come in, we can get all that stuff swapped out and get it all completed back together. We do have a few last parts to install. So we got the fuel pressure regulator to bolt back up, these two brackets, a few fuses that went on one of the brackets, and then we also painted this hood prop. So let's throw the hood prop in real quick. It was just a little bit rusty before. All right, nice and clean. And then those two brackets sat right up in there. All right, just like that, we are all finished up. That 1 day project turned into a 2 day project really quick. It's all good though, it looks really good. I'm super happy with how everything turned out. I wish we could get to powder coating and start coating all the rest of the parts today, but we simply just don't have time. So I am gonna have to save that for tomorrow. I know today was a little bit shorter of a video. Still hope you guys enjoyed it. The powder I used on that subframe will be linked down below. If you guys want to see how I coated everything, go check out yesterday's video. Tomorrow we got to make some serious progress on powder coating and Cerakoting. So we're going to be up bright and early. I'll see you guys then.